Right.
Hey everyone, today I'm sitting down with one of our incredible team members, Bronte, who's responsible for the design of Heresy. We're just going to be chatting through a bit of a behind the scenes of the design stuff and how we got to the publication that you're seeing at the moment. So first of all, Bronte, tell us a bit about you. What's your background? What are you into?
So I really like books and stuff, if I'm honest. So I do graphic designer, visual communications. And I've always loved sort of coffee table books and things like that, and really kind of just like books that are also really nice objects and things to have, not necessarily just like something pretty. Like something functional, it's like something pretty as well. So it's the both sides of it.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
it's really interesting. How did you guys get to the idea of heresy? Like, it's a bit of a word that we don't hear out of a religious context very often, and I was kind of just wondering how you guys got to that and what the idea behind it was.
yeah, so initially we had our concept was rebellion, and so we were going with just rebellion, very simple as a name. And I thought that it needed a bit more. I feel like it was too broad and not necessarily enough, because I think rebellion can mean so many different things. But if you talk about heresy, it's almost it's a much sharper word. It has a lot more weight behind it, and I think because we don't often hear about it very often, like other out of religious context, it kind of has a whole other meaning when you put towards things that we do rebel about, especially younger people nowadays. Climate change, sexism, like things like that. It has a whole other meaning, and I think it's a really cool word, and I think it really explains a lot about kind of what we can do and what it means to be a heretic. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. It's definitely someone who just speaks their mind.
Yeah, so how are you guys defining heresy in the bounds of this project?
So we're using lots of different kind of elements of kind of rebellion and the ways that we can rebel, whether it's, through physical protest, whether it's through noticing particular things that control us in our world, noticing the way that we position our bodies and the way that we understand that, and how all of those things combined, we can rebel in all of those types of things. So it's, yeah.
Interesting. And you guys have picked artists that are kind of thinking about that idea of rebellion in a couple of different ways?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So we've got Adrienne, who talks a lot about body language and things like that. Alex, who does a lot about kind of consumerism and consumer culture. Jack, he's got a lot on sort of environment and technology and how they kind of work together. Ariel has these fantastic analog pictures from climate change protests.
Oh, wow.
Miro is about social constructs and kind of understanding like how these government political things, how they affect our world. And Claude is very much has used the idea of like mythology and how that has influenced, and how we can understand rebellion through ancient texts and things.
That's really cool. And I know a lot of these artists are quite young, so it's interesting to get a bit of a useful perspective on this issue and see like what our generation has to say.
Yeah.
I've noticed that you've got Hearsay on the cover as well. I was just wondering what that was about.
So again, another way that rebellion and heresy isn't necessarily just one thing. It's so, especially now when people can't go out and do things because we're all stuck inside. It's talking about how it's like a word of mouth thing. It's a collective thought process, not necessarily a big hurrah or a big event. It's how we talk to each other, and it's how we understand how we're living and why we're living. So that's why it's got Hearsay underneath.
Very cool. So obviously, is this the finished product that we're seeing at the moment on the screen?
Yes. Yeah. We've uploaded this to issue. So you can have a look at that, and if you want to get a hard copy, we will be sorting that out as soon as printers open back up.
Amazing. So how did you get to this finished product? How did you go about like developing an aesthetic and representing this idea of rebellion?
So we had a few ideas initially. We knew we wanted to do a publication. We didn't know if we wanted it to be a zine or like a series of small magazines, or Yeah, we had kind of a few ideas. So our original ideas, we had like a collection of zines. So each, numbered, each being on a particular artist or particular topic. So these are the original. That's when we were going by just Rebellion, not Heresy. This is still in the very early stages. Yeah, these were definitely very very like zine. So very kind of punk, a little bit hand created, handcrafted, very much that. And then we kind of saw the potential for this being bigger, for this being like a much more polished design. And so that's why we went on to having a proper magazine, still small format, but yeah, having a proper kind of, text.
Very cool. So this is your final publication. So how do you think that this visually represents the idea of heresy and what it is to be a heretic? How have you integrated that into the design?
So we've, there's so many different elements in this. We've got lots of layering of text, kind of understanding that there are multiple layers to many things. A few essays in here that do explain it a bit further. And yeah, it's just, all of the works are so fantastic and really do showcase just so many elements of what it means. We've also got these handwritten elements, which again, so because we started with the idea of having a zine, we were really into the idea of like hand made, like these very handcrafted elements. So we kind of went with that idea and ran with it, and we thought, why not? So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And where can we view this publication?
So Issue is a fantastic platform where people can go and upload so magazines, books, anything they want, and it is in digital format. So yeah, super fantastic, especially for nowadays where you can't necessarily go to your local kind of newsstand, bookstore, and you still want to get information out there. And yeah, and especially now when people have more time to create, I feel like it's going to be a really good,
awesome.
really good platform for people to use.
Great. Well, the publication looks incredible. We're really excited to have a flick through it. Are there physical copies coming at some point?
Yes. So when printers are up and running again, we will absolutely be printing some copies. So yeah, if you're interested in grabbing a copy, make sure you send us, just click us a little DM or something on Instagram or anything like that, and we'll make sure that we grab your details and make sure we get one printed for you. So yeah, so that'll be really awesome. It'd be really awesome to have it hard copy. I've been looking at it from a screen for so long. It'd be nice to see something that I can hold in my hand.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the purpose that it's designed for.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for your time. It's been really interesting chatting with you.
No problem.
And the publication looks amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Okay.